Bacteria, bread mold, or the yeast? Which one of them reproduces by budding? And coming back to your question, Priyanka, you were required to answer which is the male reproductive part of the flower. And while I'm asking questions, all of you turn your cameras on in the class. That is important.
Sir,
Yeah.
stem.
Repeating stamen. Yeah, that is stamen. Correct. And coming to your question, the question was out of the bacteria, bread mold, and the third one was the yeast. Which one of them does reproduction via the budding method? A small bud develops out of it. That was the question.
Say bacteria.
No, it's the yeast now actually.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, remember the structure of the yeast, a small bud develop out of it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sometimes this bud can get separated from the parent yeast, or it can be a group of buds that will be attached to the parent, right? And there can be group of, it could be in a chain like a structure. Okay, that is one thing. Okay, tell me, reproduction in the bryophyllum takes place by the leaf, by the flower, by the root, or the stem? This is for Priyanka. And Abu Bakr, you will be answering me. The male gametes, listen carefully to the question. The male gametes in the pollen grain reaches to the female gamete by, I'm repeating the question. Male gametes in the pollen grain reaches to the female gamete, that is ovum. Basically, sperm reaches to the ovum. Sperm is found in the pollen grain. So the pollen grain will be going to the ovum via the pollen tube, or is it via the ovary tube, or is it via the ovule tube? You understood the question, Abu Bakr? Should I repeat this?
No, sir.
Priyanka, you also had a question. I suppose I gave you one question.
Yes, sir.
What's the answer to the question?
Sir,
Mean
your voice break.
okay. Am I clear to everyone, or just there's some issue with Priyanka only?
Sir, I think it's issue with me.
Okay. Question is, reproduction in bryophyllum takes place by the, does it take place by the leaf, by the flower, by the root, or by the stem? Meanwhile, Gauss, you also have a question. You tell me, the clone that we know, the word clone, we have learned about the clone, right? So the clones are they asexually produced identical organisms, or are they asexually produced non-identical organisms? Let me repeat. Clones are asexually reproduced identical organisms, or are they asexually reproduced non-identical organisms? What are they?
Identical.
And they are asexually reproduced. Good.
Yes.
Okay, you guys also answer your questions quickly. Priyanka? Bryophyllum leaf.
Tube.
Abu Bakr, repeat again.
Sir, pollen tube.
Pollen tube. Well done. Now coming back to your question.
Sir, I also had one.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I forgot that why do we get hiccups?
Why do we get hiccups? Repeat your question. I didn't hear it properly. Are you saying why do we get hiccups? This is a question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, see. I will be coming back to your question. Priyanka, you done with this? With the answer, you haven't answered it. Okay, others answer it. The bryophyllum, it does reproduction by the stem, by the leaf, by the flower. What does it do?
Sir, by the leaf.
By the leaf, no? As simple as that. In fact, bryophyllum, it is such a common example we have. Okay. Okay, you had a question in this, why we'll be getting the hiccups. Okay. See, the reason why we get hiccups now, like there could be several reasons for it. One of the reason is that when you are eating too quickly, or when you're speaking too much while you're eating, right now. Say for example, you have eaten very spicy food. This happens with me all the time. If I eat very spicy food, I get hiccups. In fact, it is common. It happens with many people. So what happens here? One of the reason is that our nerves gets very much excited, particularly the nerves that will be controlling the movement of the diaphragm. Now, you guys understand the diaphragm or not? The muscular structure that forms the base of the lungs.
Sir.
Yeah. so that will be getting irritated. It can get irritated, and because of it, the diaphragm will contract in a very short span of time. It will contract suddenly. Okay, no? So because of this, what will happen? Our breathing will be impacted, and because of this, hiccup happens. But one of the most common reason is that now, one of the most common reason of the hiccup is that when the food particle will go into the trachea, when the food particle enters into the windpipe. So suppose you are eating. Let me just take this diagram that will give you a better clarity. So when food particles will accidentally enter into the windpipe while you are eating too quickly, or while you're eating, or you are talking too much while you are having your food. So because of this, what will happen? The food will accidentally enter into there. Look at this structure here. Now understand this carefully. I'm going to shade it into different colors to give you a better clarity. Now this part which I'm shading here, can you guys guess make a guess? What is this part which I'm shading?
Wind.
The esophagus or the food pipe, basically. Very good. So the food is supposed to be going in this part, right, Priyanka?
Yes, sir.
Everyone. So this is a food particle, and it is supposed to be going in this. Okay. Now take a look at the other structure here. Now this structure which I'm shading here, can you guys tell me what is this? This is the windpipe or the trachea. This is the windpipe or the trachea. Okay, na? And this structure that has been marked here, this is the larynx. The larynx, which is also called as the sound box or the voice box. Many of you would be having the Adam's apple. The Adam's apple would be visible. Right now, you guys are teenagers, your Adam's apple would be visible. Why that? There's a bump in your throat. Why is that bump? That bump is actually the larynx. When the children are in the age of adolescence, when they are 13, 14, 15 years age, 17, 18 years of age. So in particularly in the boys, what happens? This larynx now, larynx basically the voice box. I'm going to get back to the topic. Okay, no, just let me complete this thing. Okay, I'm going to get back to the real question here. The voice box, that is basically the larynx, it becomes thicker and larger, because of which you will be seeing the bump in your throat. That bump. Further, the question in point was, what was this shaded region? So this is the windpipe. Windpipe, and windpipe is basically trachea. Trachea is commonly called as windpipe. Now there's a cap-like structure. There's a muscular structure which is acting as a door in between the food pipe and in between the windpipe. Let me highlight it using this. So this muscular structure that you're seeing here now, what is this? This is the epiglottis. And epiglottis will be preventing the food particle from entering into this. What does it do? It prevents the food particles coming from your mouth to enter into the windpipe. So while you will be eating, this will remain closed and the food particle will go here. Got this, everyone? Particularly Abu Bakr, you getting it as you had doubt in this?
Yes, sir.
So this remains closed while you are eating your food normally. Okay. But sometime what happens here? You will be getting hiccup when the food particle will accidentally enter into the windpipe while you'll be eating too quickly. And why hiccups are generated? Because that will be irritating your diaphragm. It irritates your diaphragm. You guys know the diaphragm is on the base of the chest cavity. In respiration, you would have learned about that.
Yes, sir.
So it irritates the diaphragm and it causes the diaphragm to contract. It starts to contract. It starts to contract in the upper direction like this. Here is our lungs. Example, this is the lungs. So this is the diaphragm. And diaphragm will be contracting upward. This is a diaphragm. And diaphragm gets irritated, it contracts upward, and it causes it leads to hiccup. Okay, now, and the purpose and basically hiccup will be occurring, because of the hiccup, the food particle will be forced out of the windpipe, and then it will go into the esophagus. So hiccup is actually caused because of this reason, and it's a good thing. Good thing in this manner that the food particle, because of the hiccup, will be forced back into the esophagus. So that is the thing. Hope it is clear. Right. Other reasons could be if you are eating too much of spicy food. So the nerve cells around the diaphragm that gets irritated. That also leads to it. Even if the food particle might not go here. So say you have eaten something very spicy. Has it ever happened with you guys? Like if you ate something very spicy, and then you started to get hiccups.
Sir, I'll start crying.
You have?
No, sir. I'll start crying only.
Okay. Sure. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, further you guys tell me, while we were learning about fertilization. So fertilization, is it the fusion of the female gamete, or is it the fusion of the male and female gamete? Or is it the fusion of the two male gametes?
Sir, the process of fusion of male and female.
Exactly. So that is what happened in the case of fertilization. Okay.
Sir, can you repeat the question?
My question was now, like fertilization, is it the fusion of male and female gamete, or is it the fusion of two male gamete, or is it the fusion of two female gamete? Yes.
Female.
Male and female gamete, no? Here you have a pollen grain. As the pollen grain lands on this, by the way, we know that this pollen grain, it contains the male gamete. Male gamete, basically male sex cell, and it is sperm. Now a pollen tube forms here now. Via the pollen tube, it will enter inside the ovary. So this is the pollen tube. And inside the ovary, which is the female gamete, we have the female gamete inside the ovary now. And what is the female gamete?
Ovum.
Exactly. That is ovum. So it is basically ovum. So inside the ovary, the female gamete, that is ovum, it is fusing with the pollen grain, and pollen grain contains sperm. So this is the pollen grain. As the pollen grain will go inside the ovary, or basically, as we know, it has basically sperm. So the sperm here will be fusing with the ovum, and that will further form zygote, and zygote later develops into embryo. All this we have learned in the previous classes. So in today's class, we are going to begin the new chapter, that is transportation in plants and animals. In fact, earlier, several months ago, while the two batches were merged, Priyanka and Abu Bakr, you guys will recall, we were doing this chapter. But in this batch, it was not finished, right? So we are going to take up this chapter today. Was the chapter transportation in plants and animals, has it been completed in your school?
No, sir.
Not yet. Okay. Okay, then
Sir,
let's start.
Sir, right now they're doing respiration in plants and respiration in animals.
Okay, so that is going on. Okay. So in the chapter transportation in plants and animals, as we know that every living organism on earth, all of them have some basic requirement. What are the basic requirement of living organisms? Yes. What is it? Or what are the common requirements of every living organism that they need in order to stay alive?
Sir, water, food.
Sir, water, energy, food,
Right. And one more important thing you are missing. It's
Sir, breathe.
respiration.
respiration, or specifically oxygen, right now. So every living organism, whether it be plant, whether it be animal, whether it be visible to our eyes or whether it not be visible to the eyes, they need few fundamental things in order to stay alive, to be able to survive. They require food, they require oxygen, and they require water. Although there are some exceptions, there are some microorganisms that do not require oxygen to stay alive, but that's the exception. In biology, in chemistry, in physics, in science, we have exceptions everywhere. Nonetheless, these are the basic requirements. And as we know, living organisms are made up of cells. Like here, you can look at the structure of a typical cell. This is the structure of an animal cell, in fact. So just like your body does different metabolic activities, just like you do nutrition, in the nutrition you have to, our body digests the food, absorbs the food, assimilation of food takes place, excretion of the waste material takes place from the body. Right now, your body is doing breathing, oxygen is required by your body. So just like the different functions are carried out by your body, whether it be ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation of the food, excretion of the waste material in the form of urine, feces, in the form of carbon dioxide, in the form of urine, or whether it be transportation of blood, transportation of food and water to different parts of the body. So for all those things, what we're getting to see that just like our body performs these different functions in the similar manner, our cells also performs the same function. Our cells also does the digestion of the food. They will also be breaking down the food. They also need oxygen, they also need water. So since all the living organisms are made up of cells, and cells have got different functions to perform, similar to how an organism will be doing different functions like transportation, ingestion, digestion, absorption, excretion, etc. Similar to that, a cell will also carry out all these functions. So this cell is in need of oxygen, it requires water, it requires food. So it requires water, oxygen, and it requires food. Further, the cell will also excrete the waste. The cell will be excreting the waste. So it will excrete the waste like carbon dioxide will be the waste. Getting it? Carbon dioxide will be the waste. It would release some other waste. Okay. It can release some of the toxic substances. Like for example, urea. So a cell is also carrying out these functions, right? Now, how the cell would have got the water or how it would have got food or oxygen? Just like for you to go to somewhere, there is a transport network. There's a roadway, there is a railway, there is airway.
Yes, sir.
And because of that means of transport and because of that transportation system, you are able to reach somewhere. In the similar manner, for the water or oxygen to food to reach into the cell, or for the waste materials to be taken away from the cell, there is a requirement of a well-developed transportation system. It cannot happen in a haphazard and in a random manner. There has to be well-developed mechanism for the transportation of the materials in and out of the cell. Is that thing clear to everyone? Right? So that all these elements, as we have discussed so far, so that all these elements is delivered to different parts of the body. It is delivered to different cells of the body so that they can function properly. We must have a well developed transportation system. So this discussion of ours answer the question why the plants and animals needs a transportation system. Any questions from this? Please let me know. Yes or no? If no question, then explain what I have just said. One by one, you guys tell me, why does the animal or the plant require a transportation system?
Sir, because they need oxygen,
Okay, and
food,
for they need water, waste material needs to be released from their body.
urea.
Okay, you're not answering the main reason here, the main thing. Abu Bakr, you? Why a transportation system is required in the case of plants and animals? Okay, Ross, what about you?
Sir, transportation system is required so that the required so that the required energy, food, oxygen, water, and the waste can be thrown out from the cell, and and the energy obtained from the cell can be used to carry out life processes by the organism.
The main thing is the function here, as you have mentioned. Okay, now. So different elements, so that the different required elements like food, water, and oxygen is delivered to different cells in the body, to different parts of the body, and they will be able to function properly. A well-developed transportation system is required. That is the answer to the question here. The different elements needs to be delivered to different parts of the body, specifically to different cells of the body, so that they can function properly. That's why we need a transportation system in our body. Got this now? Particularly
Yes, sir.
when we'll be looking at the case of the plants and animals, the transportation system will be different in them. Animals, okay, one common question, which out of the two will be having a complex mechanism of transportation, plants or animals? It is obvious.
Animals.
Animals, no? There's a more complex system of transportation in animals. Yes, Abu Bakr. Question is lactic acid extracted from corn? Lactic acid, yes, we can obtain it from corn, I think.
So
Yep.
lactic acid is milk, right?
It is found in the milk. Lactic acid in itself is not milk. It is present
Yes.
in the milk. It is present in the sour milk. It is present in high concentration in sour milk. Okay. Yeah, to answer your question, whether we can obtain it from the corn or not, yeah, I think we can obtain it from the corn also. Lactic acid is present in different kind of food, not only in the curd, but it can be obtained from it also. Okay, no, like via some treatment or via the process of fermentation, it can be obtained from it. Microorganisms, like we know. Yes, Abu Bakr?
Sir, Dubai's goal is to make the earth more eco-friendly, right? So then they started making stuff with the
Repeat the first line. Repeat the first line.
Sir, Dubai is trying to make earth more eco-friendly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they come up with some initiatives.
So,
Mhm.
so they even they are making sir uh, a normal water bottles sir the plastic bottles plant based, so they are made from plants, the plastic bottles.
Okay. So basically, you are saying that Dubai is making biodegradable plastics from the plant-based materials, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
So basically, there's a concept of bioplastic.
So, sir, yes. So then, they are taking lactic acid from this
Corn.
corn and then converting it to this the plant resin, and
Mm-hmm.
then manufacturing it into a steady material, and then they're making the bottles.
Acha. Okay. That is the case. Okay. So, like there are different kind of startups. One of the startup might have came up with this idea. Okay, no. By the way, this kind of things are studied in the field of biotechnology. Okay, no. These kind of works are done in the field of biotechnology. Different branches of science are there. One of them is the biotechnology. So there's a concept of bioplastic. Bioplastics are biodegradable plastics. They can be degraded, meaning that if you were to bury it in the soil in the span of 2 to 3 months, it will bury. It will be decomposed into the soil. What is the problem with the normal plastic which we use? It is very hard to decompose the plastic. It does not degrade easily. Getting it now? So thereby it leads a carbon footprint. It leaves a
Sir,
car.
plastic is not degradable at all unless you burn it, right?
Exactly. But some of them, but unless you burn it, but the burning will be producing so much of pollution. It takes about thousands, probably lakhs of years for plastics to degrade. Like, like the on average, plastic will take about a lakh year to decompose properly. Like if you were to bury some polythene in the ground, and if you were to observe that plastic and take it out from the ground, even after 10 to 50 years, you will see that it will still be there. So plastics can take about probably, I think normally plastics would take about thousands, thousands of years. Some of them can take lakhs of years also. It will depend upon the type of plastic it is. You have um, like PVC plastics are there. You have PET plastics are there. You have thermosetting plastics. You have thermoplastics, bakelite, melamine, different kind of plastics are there. So it depends really what kind of plastic you have. Nonetheless, the concept of biodegradable plastic is very good. They will be made. They are made from plant-based materials, right now. So apart from the lactic acid, I think there's a polylactic acid also. Particularly polylactic acid is used. Getting it, Abu Bakr. Particularly, I think polylactic acid is used in that. Polylactic acid is used to make the plastic. Okay,
Sir,
that is
I also had one question.
yes.
Sir, so it's a bit off topic, but how is
Oh, sure.
cancer like? How is cancer like? How are you infected with cancer?
How does one get infected with cancer?
Yeah.
Okay. See, cancer can be caused because of multiple reasons. One of the reason could be genetic. One of them could be it has got to do with the genetic now. When we look at the structure of the cells, so cell has a nucleus. Inside the nucleus, you have thread-like structure that is called as chromosome. In the chromosome, you have DNA. In the DNA, you have genes. Nonetheless, genes are present inside our nucleus. And if there's some problem with the gene, then it can lead to cancer. Apart from that, studies shows that cancer can cause be due to some external factors, like due to some infection by the virus, infection by some kind of bacteria as well. That can also contribute to the cancer. Or if someone would be a smoker, or someone is very much obese, okay, very much obese, someone is not having a healthy diet, in a long run it can contribute to the cancer. Someone is alcoholic, someone has been an alcohol addict, so that can be one of the cause of cancer. Okay, no? Or if someone were to be contracted with the harmful chemicals, or someone is working in a nuclear power plant, and if there is too much of radiation in that nuclear plant, Right? If radiation like the gamma rays are being leaked from the nuclear power plant, so the persons who are working there, they can be infected with the cancer. So there are various reasons for this. But the question is, what exactly happens in the patient who is suffering from cancer? One, the question is that what exactly happens in cancer? That should be the question. So in this, what will happen? Normally, we know that the cells in our body, they multiply. Every day, the cells in our body are multiplying. Na? Millions of cells die and millions of cells grows every day, right?
Yes,
One of the
sir.
common observation is now, like the bed sheet on which we sleep, maximum amount of dirt on the bed sheet is basically the dead skin cells. The dirt that accumulates on the bed sheet, why the bed sheet would be getting dirty, it is actually because of the dead skin cells that fall on it. So as the skin cells are becoming dead, new skin cells are also being produced at the same time. Getting the point now?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
if the growth of the cells are happening at a normal pace, it is occurring normally. So it is okay, the person is healthy. But in a cancer, in this disease, what happens? The cells in the body will divide and it will grow in an uncontrollable manner. It will grow in an uncontrollable manner. It will grow out of control. So because of which abnormal cells called as tumor will be formed. Abnormal cells called as tumor will be forming. Like so many cells will form, it will multiply and it will form a clump and will be called as tumor. Right now, and tumor, the bad part about the tumor is that it can travel via the help of the blood. It can travel, it will spread into all the parts of the body, and new tumors will develop. Say for example, if person has developed a tumor in the throat, for example, that tumor will, via the help of the blood, that tumor will be spreading to other parts of the body. It can spread into the hand, into the leg, in other different parts of the body. The basic reason is the cell will be dividing in an uncontrollable manner. That is one thing. Hope that clears the basic doubt, right?
Yes, sir.
But the reason for this would be, I explained like how the cells, how the cancer would be happening. But the cause of the cancer could be various. It could be exposure to nuclear radiation. It could be via some um, genetic disease, genetic factor is responsible for this, or it could be via infection with some bacteria, with some parasites, or with some virus as well. Okay, no? So that is the thing. Also, recently people have been awarded for their studies on cancer. Recently, so many people have been awarded for their extra work on, for their extraordinary work on the cancer. Okay, no? That is one thing. Any other questions? Then let's continue with this. So in the case of the humans, particularly, our first discussion would be related around the human circulatory system. So the organ system of the body that is responsible for the transport of material through the body will be called as the circulatory system. This organ system will particularly constitute of a pumping organ called as heart, and the tube-like structures into which the blood will be flowing. Namely, you have vein, artery. As we'll be proceeding further, you'll learn about some other blood vessels also. Vein and artery, what do we call them? Together we call them as, they are the blood vessels. These are the blood vessels. So heart, vein, artery, okay, na? Heart, vein, and the arteries, they makes the circulatory system. Or in the case of the humans and in case of most of the animals, they are forming the primary parts of the circulatory system. Why we are calling it as the primary system? Primary parts, primary means main, na? So they form the main part of the circulatory system. Later on, you will learn that you have capillaries. You'd have learned about the blood capillaries, might have heard of this term. Blood capillaries, arterioles, ventrioles, you would be learning about that as well. So blood capillary, like vein and artery, it will not be visible on the skin usually. In some people, it is visible. Veins are particularly visible in some people. Like take the case of this, look at this figure here. What do we see here? The veins are visible on the skin, isn't it? And in certain parts of the body, we'll be able to look at the blood capillaries. Like for example, you can look it in your eyes, it will be visible. In the ears, it will be visible. Okay, na? And in your gums also, in the mouth also, it will be visible. All of you turn your cameras on in the class. Abu Bakr, Priyanka, and Gauss. That is one thing. So the organ system of the body that will be responsible for transport of all the materials like food, water, carbon dioxide, oxygen, urea, etc. will be called as the transport system of the body, will be called as the circulatory system of the body. In this, the materials that will be transported will be nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, even cells, etc. How cells? Will cells also be transported? Yes, cells will also be transported. Like the red blood cells, are they stationary in the blood? No. The red blood cells are moving in the blood now. They are not stationary, they move in the cells in the blood. And what is the medium of transport of all these materials? In which medium are they flowing? Are they flowing in water or in they flowing in the blood? The flow takes place in the blood. So all of them will be in the dissolved state in the blood. All of them will get dissolved in the blood. And that's how it will be flowing. That is one thing. So first of all, our discussion will be around the blood. We'll be learning about its function. What function does it perform? So blood is the red color fluid that flows in our body through the different blood vessels. It flows through the veins, artery, and the blood capillaries. The blood here is acting as a medium of transportation of all the essential substances, whether it be oxygen, nutrients, water, etc. Also, what the blood does, blood would be taking the 1 minute here. The blood will be carrying oxygen from the lungs. The blood will be carrying the oxygen from the lungs and it will be transporting it to different cells of the body. It takes oxygen from the lungs and then transports it to different cells of the body. Further, the blood will also carry the waste material from different parts of the body. And where will the waste material be brought to? In order for the blood to be filtered, to which organ the blood will be brought? Pancreas. Okay, it will be brought to the heart from where carbon dioxide will be taken. Apart from that, waste material like urea, then it has to be brought to the kidney now. So the blood will be collecting the waste material from the different cells in your body, from the different parts of the body, and then it will be bringing the waste material to the heart and to the kidney respectively. Got this, everyone?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
no? Further, when you guys would have learned about digestion in the humans, there you would have learned about the small intestine, how the final digestion of the food takes in the small intestine, and you would have learned about the finger-like projections in the small intestine. What do we call these finger-like projections?
So villi.
That is villi. Okay, no? And villi are rich in the blood capillaries. What are they rich in? They are rich in the blood capillaries. If you were to study one of them, if you were to look closely, we'll find that they will be filled with the blood capillaries. These are the blood capillaries in them. So blood capillaries, what is flowing in the blood capillary? Is the water flowing or is the blood flowing in this? Obviously, blood is flowing in this now. So blood flows in this. And as we know that the food is completely digested in the small intestine. Okay, tell me the protein after complete digestion, it converts into?
Sir, I think amino acids.
Priyanka, what about you? Is it correct or wrong? Priyanka, this chapter is there in your syllabus. Abu Bakr, you answer. Okay, Priyanka, you are answering.
Sir,
Hmm.
there is this chapters in syllabus, but then it's not in portion.
Okay, nonetheless, we have learned about this in the batch. Hmm. Okay, Abu Bakr, you tell me, is the answer correct as the Gauss has given? The protein is converted into the amino acids. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. It is correct, in fact. Okay, I was checking you guys. So it is converted into amino acids. What about the other components? Tell me about the fat.
So fat
Sir,
will turn into fatty acids and glycerol.
yes, sir.
Exactly. Okay, now, and what about the carbohydrate? What happens to carbohydrate in small intestine?
Um, so it'll turn into simple sugar, right?
Yeah, it
No,
turns into simple sugar. But what are the simple sugars? Basically, they are glucose. Okay, now they are basically
Okay.
glucose. So the carbohydrate is converted into glucose. It is converted into some other simpler forms also, but that is usually not taught in the seventh standard. But let me tell you, like it is converted into glucose. It is converted into galactose or fructose. Just remember glucose, okay? So it is converted into glucose. Now, why we are talking about this? Because the digested components of the food, namely fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids, carbohydrates, galactose or fructose, all of them are in the simplest form. They are in very simpler state, and they are directly being absorbed by the blood capillary, and then that goes into the blood now. So all these nutrients, where is it supposed to go? Where will it go from here? It will be provided to all the parts of the body now, as the blood will be absorbing it. Now that blood will be transporting that nutrient to all parts of the body. Got this so far? Now, another important function of the blood is that it is kind of protecting your body from losing the blood by forming a blood clot. Like for example, all the necessary requirements of your body is flowing in the blood. And suppose if there's a cut in our body somewhere, so what will happen? The blood will start to come out of the cut, and after some time, if the bleeding does not occur due to loss of blood, the person will simply suffocate to death. Now the person will die. In order to stop that, blood has a component in it. Blood has some special cells in it which helps in clotting. Getting what I'm trying to say? So the blood will be protecting your body from losing the essential nutrients. From basically the loss of the blood will be prevented by forming a clot. So there's a type of cell which we'll be learning that is called as platelet. In this, we'll be learning about platelet, also called as thrombocytes. It will be helping in stopping the bleeding. Okay, na? And by forming a clot. That is also one of the function that will be performed by the blood. Now, if you guys were to read this paragraph, what does this paragraph read here? Read this paragraph here. Abu Bakr, read this. He's not there. Ross, read the given paragraph here.
why is blood called a connective tissue? Blood is considered as a type of connective tissue because it connects to the body systems, transports oxygen and nutrients to all the parts of the body, and removes the waste products.
Okay. So we are considering blood as a connective tissue. There are several reasons for this. One is that it is connecting the different systems of the body. Like in your body, what are the different systems? Our body has the nervous system. Our body has the respiratory system, excretory system. All these systems, how are they linked to each other? How are they connected? With the help of the blood now. The blood flows through the respiratory organ also. It flows through the excretory organ also, isn't it? The blood flows into the lungs also. It flows into the kidney, into the urinary bladder. Uh, So these different systems have been connected with the help of the blood. That's why it is being called as a connective tissue. and it will be transporting oxygen, waste, and nutrients through all these different systems in the body. So thereby is considered as a connective tissue because because it is spread evenly throughout all the systems of the body, and all of them are being connected with the help of the blood. That is why this is called as connective tissue. In fact, would be learn about the different types of tissues, particularly connective tissue. Can you guys give some other examples of connective tissue in the body other than the blood? Is bone a connective tissue? Is bone our connective tissue? Yes or no? You guys understanding what is a connective tissue or not? Please let me know this first.
No, sir.
No, okay.
The bone is not a connective tissue because it connects to the body system, but it like does not transport oxygen and nutrients to the body.
No, it does not necessarily need to be transporting all the nutrients, all the materials. It just need to connect the different systems of the body, connect the different parts of the body. Even if it is not connecting 100%. Okay,
Okay,
no?
sir.
Talking about the connective tissue, what I was saying about the connective tissue, no? The different kinds of tissues in the body, the different kind of tissues in the body that will be connecting the different systems or different parts of the body. They are called as the connective tissue. For example, skin. Skin is considered as a connective tissue. Huh? It is considered as a connective tissue because the different parts of the body is connected by the skin. Right now, it is commonly evenly spread. Bone is a connective tissue. Blood is a connective tissue. Or
Sir,
for example,
muscles.
muscles also. Muscles are also connective tissue. So these are some of the examples of the connective tissue in our body, because of which different systems are connected together. And these are basically the tissues that will be found almost everywhere in the body. Will be found almost everywhere in the body. So that is the thing about the connective tissue. So we have so far learned about several functions. I'm not writing any point right now in the class. Later on in the next class, I'll be writing all the different functions which we have discussed today. So you guys answer these questions first of all, and then we're going to continue further. In the class, only answer it. Yes. By the way, there's one more thing I would like to discuss with you guys. There's one point that is missed here. So far, what we have learned about the different functions of the blood is acting as a medium of transportation for all the essential substances in our body. It is carrying the waste material to the kidney, from where the waste material is filtered out. It is also protecting the body from losing the blood by forming a blood clot. Wherever will be the injury in the body, a blood clot is developed, and hence it is protecting our body. Getting this now? Further, it regulates the temperature of the body also. The blood contains special substances in it which will be regulating the temperature of the body. Right now? So the special substance will be particularly plasma. Plasma is found in the blood that will help in regulating the body temperature. So plasma will be learning that it will be it will be kind of evenly distributing the heat that is generated in our body, right? So whatever heat is being generated in our body, it will be evenly distributing it. Take for example, if the body is too hot, say for example you are doing some intense workout, you are lifting heavy weights, or you have ran a marathon, so your body is going to generate too much of heat at that time, right? Now, isn't it? Right or no?
Yes, sir.
So at that time, what happens? The blood flow near to the surface of your skin will increase. The flow of the blood is increasing near to the surface of the skin, because of which the extra heat in the body will be lost by that. The blood flow, like when you have ran a marathon or when you're doing some intense workout, if you were to feel your own skin, it will be feeling warm or cold. Tell me. if you have ran a marathon, have you guys ran a marathon?
No, sir.
Basically,
So
my
what?
question, I was asking like whether you guys have ever participated in marathon or some sports activity. If not, I would encourage
No.
you guys to participate in a sports activity. Lots of
Yes,
benefits.
sir. Other sports I have participated, but not a marathon.
Okay, okay. Like what kind of a sports?
Sir, I mostly enjoy playing football.
Okay, okay, football. Okay, that's good. Okay, what am I trying to say here? That when our body generates too much of heat, the flow of the blood near to the surface now it increases, because of which the body will be releasing the heat. The body will be releasing the heat, and when the body is too cold, the flow of the blood to the skin is reduced, because at that time the body needs to conserve the energy for the vital organs, for the important organs in our body. So for example, in the winter season, will your hand feel cold or warm in the winter season? You guys tell me.
So cold.
Cold.
Cold, no? Why? Where is the heat going? Is the heat not being produced in your body in the winter? It is being produced. But where is that heat being used? It is being used to, yes,
For the vital organisms.
for the vital
I mean, for
organs.
the we have vital organs. Yeah.
Okay, no, for the vital organs, for the important organs in the body. So even if our skin is not getting adequate amount of blood, I mean, yes, the flow of the blood is slow in the skin, it is okay. But heat needs to be conserved for the important organs. Suppose in the cold season, if the flow of the blood in your skin increases, so your body will be losing the heat now. Your body will lose the heat, then you will suffer from cold, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
in this manner, the blood will be regulating the temperature of the body also. In the summer season, or in the when your body gets too heat, so thereby the flow of the blood close to the surface of the skin increases, and hence the body is getting rid of the extra heat. We are the warm-blooded animals. We can regulate our body temperature. We can regulate our body temperature to 37 degrees Celsius. But the cold-blooded animals, if the surrounding temperature increases or decreases, they will die. They can't control their body temperature. We can control our body temperature by sweating. If the body temperature increases too much, by sweating we will be able to lower it back to normal body temperature. So that is also one of the function of the blood. It will be able to regulate the blood, regulate the body temperature.